Hello, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my September favorites. I have a lot of stuff here. My favorites videos tend to be a little bit long, so maybe grab a cup of something to drink, a snack, whatever you like, and settle in with me, and I'm just gonna jump right in. So I have my traveler's notebook with my favorites notes in front of me, lots of stuff to talk about, but let's just move down through the list. I'm gonna start with books. So I have a bunch of books I want to talk about this month. Not all of them I've finished, but I definitely want to chat about them. So you guys have heard me talk about this before. I am working my way through Women Who Run with the Wolves, Myths and Stories of the Wild Woman Archetype by Clarissa Pinkola, Estes, PhD. This is such a good book. I haven't made a ton of progress on it this month. I haven't quite hit the halfway mark, but I don't feel the need to move through this book very quickly, and I just need to mention it because it is so good. And if this is one of those books that you've got sitting on your shelf and you're like, I'm gonna read it someday, or you've started it and kind of like been like it's too slow, just put it somewhere where you can read a little bit at a time. Keep a highlighter nearby if you're like me and you like marking up your books, because I am constantly highlighting passages in this book, and it's one of the things I love the most about it is the depth. But if you keep it somewhere handy, you can like move through it just a tiny bit at a time. It's so worth it. It is so worth it. This is not the kind of book that I can just sit and read in a sprint. It's definitely a marathon, but I'm going to continue to enjoy it and digest it as I move through the year, and maybe I'll finish it by the end of 2019, but I don't care if I don't. I just care that I'm getting the most out of the experience, and it's definitely a book that I will continue to go back to again and again. This would also probably be an amazing book for bibliomancy, if you have ever done that. Bibliomancy is a form of divination where you sort of flip through and you put your finger, not with a bookmark, but you pick a page randomly, you put your finger on a passage and you just read what it has to say, and that's your message. And this would be an amazing book for that because it's just so densely packed with wisdom. I love it. So, another book I want to talk about, actually I have two guidebooks I want to talk about. The first is the Way of the Panda guidebook, the Way of the Panda Tarot guidebook, which is called the Book of Pandas by Kimberly San. Holy moly, if you did not see my weekly deck review for this deck, I will put a link to it up in the cards. This book, or cards, yeah, cards over there, okay. This book, so good. Like you can see, I've still got a bookmark in it. I've got little flags. I talked about this book a ton in my weekly deck review. The flags are there because there are some really cool parts of this book. There's a panda quiz that talks about how much panda you are. There is a guided like visualization you can read, or you could even record it for yourself and then listen to it back as a guided meditation. There is some fantastic spreads. I talked about one of my favorites in my weekly deck reviews, which is the Panda Foot spread, which is from the Justice card. There's a spread in every single major arcana entry in this guidebook. Every single one. That's 21 spreads. Plus, there's more spreads in, I believe, the beginning of the book or the end of the book or something. I think it might be in the beginning. Yeah, in the beginning of the book. This book is so well done. The humor in it is wonderful. This was such a pleasure. I read the entire book the week that I worked with this deck. I literally just sat and devoured it one Saturday with my deck. I shuffled my deck and then just went through and read each entry. Like as I flipped over a card, I'd read that entry and then the next one. So I kind of hopped and skipped all through it, and it was so good. So well done, Kim. Holy cow. So good. Okay, the other tarot guidebook that I wanted to talk about that just blew me away is the Wild Messengers Alchemical Tarot guidebook. This is worth having in your book collection even if you don't have the deck. That's how good it is. It is a really healing book. Every single animal offers information about that animal and wisdom about that animal, but also a lot of information about your personal growth and animal medicine, and it's so well researched. There are tidbits to learn about each animal in every single entry, and because it is a tarot, you have 78 animals, plus animals or insects, plus you also have a couple of bonus cards. There's a dragon and a phoenix card, if I remember correctly. But this guidebook is so good, so good, so good. Could not recommend it enough. I'm so happy I have it. Yeah. I'll stop saying it's so good, but it's really good. It's really good. Okay, moving along. Other books that I have enjoyed this month, I have been working with Mary K. Greer's Tarot for Yourself. I am happily surprised at how digestible and friendly this book is. It doesn't feel overly intense from a like reading standpoint, and it feels like it moves along at a pretty good pace considering it is a pretty densely packed workbook. But maybe that's why. I feel like because there's exercises almost every time you turn the page, it just kind of keeps you engaged. So some of the stuff is really exciting. Is in the beginning, the first few chapters are all about building your sort of tarot profile. So I've actually bookmarked mine once I've finished all of the necessary steps. But it has things like figuring out what your birth cards are, but it goes deeper than that. There's a soul card, a personality card, a hidden factor card. It gets into your court cards, your astrological cards, so your sun sign card, your moon sign card, current year card. Like it's really cool. And then the other exercise that just blew me away was an exercise where you graph out your year cards for every year of your life from birth onward. And so there's a graph in here. I'll show you what the example graph looks like. So it looks kind of like this, and you figure out what you were doing at your different points in your life. And then different kinds of cards and numbers have different associations. So she has you explore the beginning and end of each 10-year cycle, and that'll make more sense if you are looking at the book. But she also has you explore your years that were associated with your personality or your soul card number, the years that and ages you were when you first experienced a new card, a new number in that in the tarot that is associated, because those are certain types of lessons. When you like the last appearance of a number in your graph, the most frequently appearing numbers. I mean, it's really cool to dive into those different numbers, what you were doing, what the lessons for you were that year, and it's really cool. Plus there's actually even a chart in here that tells you what, like, you don't have to do all like the math, because essentially once you know, like for example, my birth month and birth year add up to an even number, so I can just add that to a current year to figure out. I'm not explaining this very well. She explains it much, much better in the book, but I'm really enjoying that exercise. There's also some really good visualizations in here. There's a grounding and centering exercise that's extremely simple, easy to memorize, that I just loved. And the section in the book I'm in now is a section where I'm going to be recording a really beautiful guided meditation and exploring that. There is path working in this book, and like so many things that we, I think, commonly take for granted as parts of our tarot practice. I think a lot of those likely originated from this book. So I'm really appreciating going through it, and there's just so much more. I'm enjoying marking this up. I'm loving it. I'm having a lot of fun. And Mary signed my copy at Northwest Tarot Symposium last year, so this one's precious. And I'm bookmarking it and writing in it and marking it all up, and it's super fun. So really enjoying that. If you've never worked through this book, there is now a new edition. I think it's out now. If not, it's about to be out, so scoop that up. But I have the original edition, and I'm really enjoying working through it. So another book, the last book actually that I want to talk about in my favorites, is this really super gorgeous illustrated history. It's called The Occult, Witchcraft and Magic in Illustrated History. Oh my gosh, that was a mouthful. And the author is Christopher Dell. This is like a beefy, like hardcover, gorgeous book. It is definitely a coffee table kind of book. It's literally like an encyclopedia. Like you look up a topic and you read about just that topic, like a little bit at a time. But this month I actually read the section on alchemy, because I've got a growing interest in alchemy, which I'll probably talk about soon on my channel. But just to give you an idea, so this is the section on alchemy. You've got tons of full color illustrations that are representative of the topic. And I just really enjoyed reading through this section. And every time I've picked it up to look up a particular section, it's just been really enjoyable. There's not too much. It doesn't go too terribly deep, but oh my gosh, can we talk about this really cool chart that has all the alchemical symbols from, what was this from? The 17th century alchemy. Super cool. This is also a really cool thing. That these are a scroll that show the 12 steps of alchemy, and there's 3 different copies illustrated here, or shown here rather. But it was just really fun to work through and read through this section and see these illustrations and read the little blurbs about them. Super fun. And then that was the end of the section. And here's the section on John Dee. There is so much in here. It is probably my favorite, one of my very favorite witchy books, just for the information and the way that it's presented, and it's so beautiful. It's really cool. And just because I'm always curious, I'll show you what it looks like without the dust jacket. How cool is that? Anyway, I do like the dust jacket, but that red with black, pretty wicked. So that is my last book to talk about for my monthly favorites. And I do keep a bookmark in this book somewhere just so that I can mark whatever section I'm working on, but that's super fun. I said it was my last book, but I should at least give an honorable mention to the Seasonal Soul. I keep this by my bed. I work with the seasonal section that I'm in, so now that summer has officially ended, I have moved on to the fall section. So that is the section I have bookmarked in here, and I usually just mark, oh, I lost my page. Anyway, I usually just mark the beginning and the end of the season. I lost my end, but I've got fall, the start of fall anyways, properly marked in here. Excuse me, and I like to just read a little bit at a time. This is, again, a really beautifully illustrated book, so it's just really enjoyable to flip through and to read the little blurbs in here about the different parts, the different seasons of the year. So that's really enjoyable too. Okay, now I'm really done with books. Let's move on to a new category, okay? Just corralling myself. So YouTube. I did not make a lot of notes this month about favorites on YouTube, but there's been so much great content out there. There's some new channels I'm following. Check out Tubby Tarot. I love his energy. If you are a beginner to tarot, you are probably going to love his channel. I enjoy watching it just for his personality, even though a lot of the content is very aimed towards people new to the practice. He's got a great tutorial on trimming and edging decks, which is super worth watching, and he shared some tips in there that I hadn't encountered, and I thought that was really cool. He also just recently made a video on mastering the like the beginning of how you get into tarot and start learning it. Super good. So really enjoying that. There's just a ton of people. Chloe Hedger Tarot that I want to shout out. I absolutely adore Sunset Bow Tarot's channel, Boho Tarot's channel. I love Simon at the Hermit's Cape. I mean, I could just go on and on and on. Lots of stuff, great stuff has been coming out. But I also wanted to shout out the collab channel that I do with Danny over at Danny Mystic and Dustin at Modern Metaphysic Man. This last month we did a video together. We do live streams. We do about one a month. Right now we're doing one a month. But this month we talked about our elemental decks, which was really fun. We had a great time. The video moved along at a really nice pace. I think it was just a high energy, fun video. So if you get a chance, I will link that up in the cards. Go check it out. It was super fun. Make sure you're subscribed over there because we do only do about one video a month, so you don't want to miss it. And it is a live stream. Words, Lisa. Words. TV, I'm still watching all the RuPaul's Drag Race. It's like all I've been watching for the past couple of months, and I'm really having fun with it. I think I'm on season 7 right now and loving it. So, and then I'll be watching All Stars 2 next. So I'm kind of moving through the series chronologically, and it's been really fun. I have the songs from that show always in my head. They're like constant earworm. I mean, I'm not really minding, but I'm watching a lot of RuPaul. Food. Let's see. What was my favorite food thing? So I wrote one thing down and I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. Well, I'll talk about this. This is going to sound so silly and simple, but one of my favorite food things of the month is toasted tomato sandwiches. So silly, but I'd never had them. I don't know if they're a Canadian thing or just a Peggy thing. I have no idea. But when we first got together, she made me one of these, and I remember kind of giving her some side eye. I'm like, tomato sandwich, yay, exciting. But she toasts the bread. There's like a thin layer of mayonnaise, some slices of tomato that are like ripe but not overripe or underripe, and then like salt and pepper, I think. That's it. And it's so dang good. And she just made some the other night, and I was having such nostalgia that I'm like, I'm putting this in my favorites. But I actually can't think of it. We haven't done a lot of food adventures this month. Fall drinks are on at Starbucks, so I have been drinking my cardamom latte, which I love. They also put out a really delicious pumpkin cream cold brew. It is so yummy. It's a cold brew coffee with a layer of pumpkin flavored cream, like cold foam cream. I don't know what the deal is, but it is so sweet and creamy and delicious when they make it right. The problem is I've had it right once and wrong twice. So right is when you get the drink and it's got layers. You can see the cold brew on the bottom and the cream sits on top, and it slowly mingles in with the cold foam. Or sorry, slowly mingles in with the coffee. But when you sip it, you get like this really sweet pumpkin pie creaminess and then the coffee. Which has, I believe, a little bit of vanilla syrup or something in it, so it is sweetened. But twice now I've gone to get this drink and it's come and it's been like all mixed up. Like either it sat too long or they didn't make the cold foam dense enough or something, and then it's not as exciting or delicious. It's still good, but it's not the same. You need the texture. You need that really rich cream on the top and then the coffee underneath. Like when it's good, it's good. So I feel like if I order it again, I'm going to be one of those really annoying people at the counter being like, okay, so I want it, but I want to be able to see the layers and like the cream needs to be, like, how do I do that in a polite way that's not super obnoxious? I might not be able to, but it's so good when it's perfect, you know? So I've been mostly ordering my cardamom latte rather than take the risk. I have had a couple pumpkin spice lattes, but to be honest, as much as I enjoy pumpkin spice lattes, I can only handle them occasionally because they are so intensely flavored and sweet. I probably could order them half sweet. If anybody has any pumpkin spice latte tips, feel free to leave them down below. But I love the cardamom latte. And what I'm really excited for is when they launch the holiday drinks, provided they bring back my chestnut praline, because that is my favorite. This is a lot of latte talk. Let's move on. Okay, so what else do I have here? Oh, magic! So I had a really fun magical month. I have been really enjoying collating all of my, I don't know if that's the right word, collecting? Setting aside my items from my Witch's Moon, Witch's Bounty, and Witch's Roots box, and building a ritual that incorporates a lot of the items from all three boxes. It's been really fun to do. I did one last month. I don't know if I'll have enough cards, but I might link last month's up. But this month I did a Mabon ritual using the Oak King and the Holly King as a general theme for the ritual. I essentially created a ritual where the first half of the ritual was about gratitude for the light half of the year, gratitude to the Oak King, making a gratitude list, that sort of thing. And then having a ritual bath that involved a bath tea I made that was meant to be very healing and about moving into the transformation from the light half of the year to the dark half of the year. And I used candles symbolically, like lit the tub with candlelight and then blew it all out at the end to symbolize the darkness. And then I had the second half of the ritual was all about inviting in the dark half of the year and the Holly King, and doing some shadow work, tarot readings for myself with my Deviant Moon Tarot, and it was just, and charging some items, and it was really rich and full of symbology, and it was just, oh, it fills my cup when I get to do those really rich, meaningful rituals, and I'm always inspired by the items I get in those boxes to just create something new and exciting, and it's just, I had a blast. So I will link this month's ritual, which is with my Witch's Roots unboxing. That's probably where I'll put it, because usually I'm so ready for the ritual by the time I get my Witch's Roots that it's like I want to unbox. I've got my ritual mostly prepped, and then I use the Witch's Roots items to sort of boost it. So super fun. I'll link that. Have a look-see. But that was probably my favorite magical thing of the month. What else did I do? Oh, there's a couple magical items I've been using a lot this month that I wanted to share. The first I've been using for months and just haven't mentioned it in favorites yet, but if you have booked a professional reading with me, then you know that I use this on the regular. But this is my Seeker oil that I got in a Witch's Moon box. So this oil is really about boosting your ability to connect with your intuition. So it has become a regular part of my reading practice when I am at home or reading for clients that I anoint my hands with this oil, and I just set that intention to be really connected to my intuition for either my own sake or for my client's sake. And I just really enjoy having this be part of my tarot ritual. I use very little, so this will last me forever, which is awesome. well, maybe not actually forever, but for a really long time, because I've used it a ton and I barely have a dip in my bottle. So I just put a little on my finger, rub my fingers together, anoint both my hands, and rub my hands together. I'm good. So I really enjoy that oil. The other oil I've been really in love with this month came in, I believe this one came in my Witch's Bounty box. Does it say on here? There's some words on here. Oh, it's just their website. Okay. Anyway, this one is the Water and Earth oil. And when I smelled this, it literally, it smells so good. And it makes me think of the rainforest, like a cedar forest when it's raining. But it's sweeter and more fragrant than that. But I just love this. It's what I have on right now. I have a tendency, I just set up actually in my bathroom a shelf where I have all my magical oils set up. And every morning when I'm getting ready for work or when I'm getting ready for my day, I will pick 1 or 2 oils to anoint with, and I'll set an intention for the day. So this is the one I'm using today, or one of the ones I'm using today. But yeah, I'm really, oh, it's so good. It's so good. And I know it's not like perfume, but I kind of use it like perfume, but with intention. Perfume with intention. And the Witch's Moon's oils have such wonderful scents. I just love working with them, but this was a favorite this month for sure. Let's see, what else do I have? Herbs and crystals. Herbs I didn't bring to show you because I forgot. But the 2 herbs I've been working with the most this month have been echinacea, which I used quite a bit of in my ritual bath process for my ritual I was just talking about for Maven, and peppermint, which has been really, really wonderful. I've been drinking a lot of peppermint tea. I have been working with the peppermint herb, and I've just been really getting a lot out of that. I love the smell of peppermint, which definitely helps, and I love the taste of peppermint, which also definitely helps. But those have been the herbs I've been working with the most this month. I'm really enjoying. Crystals. I have just one I want to talk about, and it is my pendant I got in my Witch's Bounty box this month. But it is this gorgeous shungite capped I'm always going to say it wrong. Belemite or belemnite is this bottom half, and it is actually a fossil from a prehistoric, it's like kind of like from the front end or from the beak end, I guess, of a prehistoric squid-like creature. So it's a water-dwelling creature fossil, and this particular one has been engraved with the Iwaz rune, which is the U rune, and is all about, to me, is very much about connection to the sacred. As above, so below. The U tree is associated as the world tree in some traditions. My fingers are blue. I must have, oh, from touching my book. I just realized, I've got oil on my fingers and I'm touching my book, so I'm getting blue ink on my fingers. But anyway, loving this. I charged this during my Maven ritual specifically, but I have been working with this stone a lot for the kind of work I associate with the fall time, where it's descent into self, really focusing on the self work that I need to do to be at my healthiest, really working through some of the shadow kinds of things, some of the more difficult things that, you know, we don't like to face or deal with. So I've been doing a lot of that kind of work, and I feel like this has really been a powerful assist for me. Oh my God, it's like fall windy outside. All the leaves are just like starting to drift. It's gorgeous. There's like trees outside my window, so it's pretty cool to watch the transformation. Anyway, distraction time. How am I doing on time? Oh my goodness, I've got to get moving. Okay, so bunch of other things to talk about. Holy cow, how did I get here? So random favorites. Let's talk about random, since I have like a few things to talk about. First of all, I want to talk about this gorgeous body positive seasonal goddess painted stone. This was sent to me by Dana, Lady Lucia, here on YouTube. Check out her channel. She's been doing a 30-day vlog channel this last month, and it's been really cool. She painted this for me. This was part of a deck trade that I did, where I sent her one of the decks that I had in my collection, and she sent me this and also some painted artwork. But I just freaking love this. Like, she painted this rock. It's from one of the Great Lakes, and it is just so cool. It made me so happy when I saw that she made the goddess figures like kind of curvy and like bodacious. I love it. So you've got the fall leaves for the fall season. with the yellow goddess. You have the blue goddess with the snowflakes for winter, the green goddess with what looks like cherry blossoms for the spring, and the red goddess with these gorgeous yellow flowers like daisies for the summertime. And I just think that's so cool. So this is living permanently on my altar and I just love it. Other fun things I got this month. Okay, so Danny at Danny Mystic sent me a beautiful handmade, look at this. Look what she made. Isn't it the best? It's out, it's got this like sparkly vinyl. So she made the vinyl and she magically somehow applied it to this beautiful pink tote bag. And look at the purple little hearts over the eyes. Isn't it the cutest thing you've ever seen? So this is actually hanging on the wall in our living room right now. So you'll probably see it behind Peggy and I when we do lives out there, but it's so pretty. I absolutely adore it. She also made, and it made my freaking month. I'm not even kidding. Look at the sticker. So this is in my traveler's notebook. This is my YouTube notebook, but look at this sticker. She sent Dustin and I each a couple of these, and look at this 3 Fat Readers sticker. Look at us, that's us. That's me, that's Dustin, and that's Danny. Did I get that right? Yeah, I did. Okay, good. I'm looking at it in the viewfinder, but isn't that amazing? So she drew that somehow, and like, so I've got my one sticker on my traveler's notebook there, and then I put my other sticker in this pouch so I can always see it there too. But that was so cool. I was super excited by that. What else do I have in randoms here? I think that's about it. Did I cover everything? Oh, I forgot my big tarot bag. Well, I'll have to show that next month because I didn't bring it. Okay. Lastly, I'm going to very quickly get into decks because I have shown all these on my channel except for one. So I'm going to show all the ones I've shown before, but these are my favorites from working with in September, which is like most of the decks I worked with. But I really loved working with the Happy Tarot. There's an example of what the artwork looks like. This is my inner child in a deck. It is so fun. And I really, really love working with it. I trimmed it and I edged it in all kinds of fun purples. And there is a video up on my channel where I show how I did that because I did it for you guys. Like I shared it with you guys. Also a favorite this month, and this won't come as any surprise, is my Way of the Panda Tarot. I also recently reviewed this on my channel. Also a favorite this month, my Whispers of Lord Ganesha deck, Oracle deck. This one is gorgeous. I've talked about it a bunch. It's beautiful. The keywords are great. It's just always a joy to play with it. I still need to get Peggy to embroider me a Ganesh bag for it because she's got a really beautiful Ganesh embroidery design. Breathtaking. I also really loved working with the Roots and Wings Oracle this month. Rose petal finish, gorgeous artwork, super balanced, pairs well with basically everything. But I'm excited to work with this next to the Brady Tarot and the Luminous Void Tarot. So that's definitely the deck that I'm going to be pairing with those. One last Oracle deck to talk about, and that is the Queen of the Moon Oracle by Stacey DeMarco. I loved working with this deck. Artwork is stunning. This is the backs. This is the fronts. Super gorgeous. Loved it. But most exciting, and I don't know if I'm going to work with this one for a full week or if I'm just going to love on it and work with it whenever I feel like it. But I finally got off the fence and purchased my copy of La Corte de Cherokee. This deck, you guys. If you want to see a full walkthrough of this deck and see my thoughts on it, let me know down below. It's an Il Menegello deck. The cardstock is hand cut. It's stunning. And it's this really old world feel, but it is a modern created deck, but it's created to look beautiful and antique and vintage and old. And it's absolutely a treasure to hold and shuffle and play with. I love it so much. So that is it. That is my monthly favorites. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you want to hear more about any of these things below, let me know. Tell me what your favorite things are of the month. And definitely let me know if you make a favorites video. I try to watch those. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you later.